Democracy, once seen as the unstoppable force shaping the modern world, is facing some of its greatest challenges in decades. Across continents, political polarization is deepening, trust in institutions is declining, and democratic values are being tested like never before. From rising authoritarianism to misinformation and social unrest, many are asking a troubling question: is democracy in crisis? In this video, we will explore why democracies around the world are struggling, what's driving these changes, and what is the future of democratic societies. By its nature, democracy is polarizing and works by dividing the country in several parts. Depending on how many political parties are there and what differences are they banking on, like language, religion, geography, skin color, etc. And by its nature, it is designed to fail and most likely lead to tyranny, as Plato, who is one of the greatest philosophers, said about democracy. As what it does is divide people in different groups that hate each other by making them fear the other group, by doing identity politics, or making a group feel superior in culture or religion. It depends on the group they are trying to convince to vote them. It is fairly new type of governance, so we don't have much data about it, other than it was there in Greece at some time, which failed. Plus, it is something which sounds too good on theory, as people believe it gives them power, as they have the right to choose the government they like, and each votes holds some power to influence the result. But in reality, the votes of communities matter more than any single person with goodwill and intelligence. And yes, people of these communities work like one. To them, the goodwill of the country as a whole doesn't matter. But all that matters to them is what benefits their communities are getting, whether it's reservation for them in different fields, policies that provide stuff for free, cheap, or as a part of reservation, even at the expense of economy of the country that is being paid by taxpayers of that country, or selective laws favoring their religious customs. Even though that means stripping away rights of some people or creating different rules for them as appeasement. These rules sometimes violate the basis of democratic and secular state, just because these communities have the power to vote. If we look at any democratic country with some percentage of Muslim population in them, then we can see the appeasement going on for these people. And that also mainly by the left governments, who were supposed to be liberals and should stand for freedom for everyone. Men, women, straight, gay, or of any ideology they belong to should all be treated equally, which is just opposite of what Islam preaches and Muslims want. But these parties cater for Muslim votes because the so-called right wing already has a voter bank to cater to. That is Orthodox Christians or Hindus in case of India. That is the reason why it is the left that in theory should stand against the religious orthodoxity caters to Muslim. Not because they want better for the Muslims, but because it's the only way to gain power in the democratic structure. Democracy doesn't reward wisdom. It rewards numbers, and the bigger the voting bloc, the more power it gets. Plus, democracy is designed in such a way that it doesn't make policies that are good for the nation, but what is good for the voter base, no matter how biased, inhumane, or illogical that policy is. Because the people that come into power don't achieve that by providing their merit or passing some kind of exam and psychological analysis that guarantees they will make a fair government that will be fair to all the people of the nation. But power is rather achieved by votes of people who mostly vote in groups. The dangerous part is these groups mostly contain the illiterate, the radicalized, and religious fanatics, rather than literate and qualified people who have capacity to think and take wise decisions for the country. This is the exact reason why democratic countries worldwide are struggling with minority appeasing policies and reservations of various kinds, rather than depending fully on meritocracy. By the way, these people are not just minorities. Do not get confused by the term minority, but in reality, they make a good amount of vote bank, as the whole group acts as one, making them powerful in a democratic system, as what policies will be created depends on who is selected. That depends on who selects them. That further depends on what policies are being promised.
to get the votes. Typically, literate and non-religious fanatic people make their own minds while voting, and that is the reason why even after being in majority, their vote doesn't matter that much, as it is scattered amongst many parties. So the rule that has been created are for the so-called minority extremist illiterate people who are also poor, making them good candidates for playing sympathy card for some members of the majority who decide to vote for the parties supporting these people. In European countries, the increase in Islamic residents and increase in pro-Islamic policies aren't being made because people in the government and in power love Islam, but it is the democratic system that forces them to act that way. Doctrinization of masses by selective moral messaging that is further constructed by the governments to keep people trapped in the ideological traps that these parties construct by manipulating academia and media. Similarly, if you take the case of India, then you will find people are not allowed to have multiple wives, as both male and female are equal in the eyes of Constitution. But on the flip side, if you take Muslims, then these men are allowed to marry 4 women, throwing the gender equality down the drain. Similarly, the reservation that was there for 10 years has been there for more than 70 years, and it's only increasing. Even though according to the Constitution, everyone is equal and there should not be any discrimination of any kind. Governments even got to the point of further dividing people in different groups to appease them for vote bank to come in power. There has been deliberate attempt to spew hate against different castes, especially the general category, which is technically the minority with low population count, to keep these groups hating on each other, making the political parties easy to appease the majority while making minority castes the enemy and play divide and rule. In this case, get votes from majority while losing some votes of minority. By the way, this minority is different from religious minority, as it is a fraction of a religious group which share a same goal combined. This doesn't align with the agendas of left-leaning and state parties, so they break it into groups to get votes from the broken fraction which is aligned with other religious groups like Muslims. This combined generates enough votes to rival opposition parties, even if it's a nationalist right-wing party. Plus, it is almost impossible to break Muslims in different groups, like they do it with Hindus, Sikhs and Christians in West. Wasn't one of the main goals for the government used to be the eradication of caste system? Then why is casteism more prevalent in mainstream internet culture than it was ever before? And where are the real efforts on real grounds by the government to eradicate this disease? Why does being casteist and someone who flaunts their caste pride not called out unless it is what is called a general caste person? It's 2026. But we are still divided into castes. Aren't we all equal? And these general OBC, SC, ST dividing categories, it sickens me to my core. I can talk about this issue much more deeply, but it will take a lot of time and it's not the core focus of the video, so we'll do it in another video. In the case of both of the countries, Europe and India, if you think governments want to do good for the society and country in general, then you are completely wrong and have been manipulated by manufactured propaganda that has been fed to us by governments of these countries. Governments could only do what the system allows them to do. And in a democracy, the system only allows the vote bank appeasement, as the vote bank is the people and a democracy is by the people, of the people and for the people. And the governments only do what the people want. I remember once Osho said democracy is by the people, of the people, for the people, but the people are retards. In reality, the people are religious fanatics who are unbelievably narcissist for their groups and don't give a damn about the nation, as the majority are illiterate, casteist and religious fanatics filled with group supremacy. Similarly, if you look at America, that country is very divided ideologically. What do you think divided them in the first place? If your guess is democracy, then you are 100% right, as majority of these people don't have any alternate thought of their own rather than preaching what their favorite party is supporting. Plus, there's a gender gap that is being increasing day by day. All of it is because this is what democracy does, dividing people in groups and making them hate each other's group and using this hatred as vote bank to get power. Although there are other factors responsible for hatred between the sexes, which we can cover in another video. One more example of it is the language war that has been happening for few years in India, a country where people used to respect different languages and were eager to learn them. History is filled with many examples like it. We have famous scholars and warriors who used to move across the country, spoke many languages, and never had any problem with different languages or face any hate because of their own. But nowadays, people are manipulated to create a group of language supremacists to get vote from this group. Similarly, people are taught the field theory of Aryan invasion to further divide them into Aryans and Dravidians, to isolate South from North, to get votes and come in power. Democracy is fairly new, but I am 100% sure it will not be there for very long. Maybe another 100 to 150 years. And majority of the world will abandon it, or if they are smart, they will modify it and see how it goes. These are my unfiltered, raw thoughts. Tell me what you think, you agree, disagree, or have something else to say. Give nuanced answers in the comments. Remember, be civil to others. We are here to share ideas, not to hate people who think different from us. And remember, keep questioning everything.